Hello. I think someone else is saying what you just did. Hopefully I see them. Or I talk to them.
Okay, so buenos días. ¿Cómo estás? Bien, good. Like a Spanish Spanish class. Okay, so do you have question before we start our class? No? Everything is good? Ready for the exam? Yeah. So today is going to be our last lecture. And tomorrow we're going to review all the lecture. And then Wednesday, you will have the final exam. And the final exam actually going to be afternoon, right? After walking from hiking to the, the mud ball. Yeah? So therefore, make sure you study before going to the mud ball. You will not be able to study during the hiking time. Okay, so therefore we're gonna review it tomorrow before your final exam on Wednesday. So if you don't have question, then we'll continue our last chapter, which is chapter 5, right? And this chapter is biodiversity of animals. And of course, because this class is evolutions, mostly this biodiversity will be discussed with their relationship with their adaptation, right? Why they adapt to this environment, why they are, kind of available or presence on their specific habitats. Okay, that's the biodiversity in this evolution class. Okay, so again, we're gonna review again from the very beginning for the animals, and then we're gonna see their adaptation. Again, all animal is known as metazoa, right? So metazoa. Okay. And these animals, okay, of course, based on their adaptations and their habitats, will be divided into two types. Okay. The first ones will be the very primitive animals. They have cells. Remember, all animals, they are multicellular. But this first one over here, they don't have the tissue. The cell is just kind of go together. It's not really making a tissue that create a special function. That's their adaptation. They just group of cell. So what do you call that group? What do you call that? Parazoa. So parazoa, which is a primitive animals without tissue cell, without tissue. Okay. So this animal, of course, evolution start from water. It will be aquatic animals. That's the way. I still remember what is the common ancestor for animal? What is the name of the protozoa? Choanoflagellate. Okay, so this parazoa, its body is actually just combination of many choanoflagellates. A lot of choanoflagellates, that used for, for making a current, taking the food, filtering the food, and etc. Therefore, their body mostly will have a lot of pore. So another name for this one is called the porifera. That's the name of animal actually, porifera. Pore mean pore, a lot of pore. And therefore, their body will be sponge. Okay, so it's called sponges, which is porifera or foraminifera. Sometimes, the name have different name. Porifera, foraminifera, but they are sponge, and they are very primitive animals. Now, the second group will be the one that have body tissue. What do you call that? real. What? True. Metazoa. Real animal with real body tissue. Okay, Eumetazoa. And this Eumetazoa divided into two groups. Okay, based on the symmetry of their body. If they have radial symmetry, is called radiata. Okay. If they are bilateral, symmetry is called the bilateria. Okay. Okay. Now, radiata, it has two group. Gonna put here. The first one is called the Cnidaria. Cnidaria. Okay. And the second group is called the Stenophora. Stenophora. Okay. Stenophora. Correct? I will not go to the name of the group, but just examples of the animals in this group. Okay. Cnidaria. Jellyfish. The first one is jellyfish. Okay. So their adaptation is the larva is swimming. So therefore, when the larva is growing into adult, they can drop into different places on the bottom of the sea. Right? So what is the swimming stage of this larva called? No, polyp is the sessile stage.
Medusa.
Medusa. Yeah, Medusa is the swimming stage, which is larva. And then the sessile or sessile stage is the polyps. Okay, so polyps. So the jellyfish, and then the house of Nemo, and sea anemones. Okay, sea anemones. Okay, that's the polyps actually, the sea anemones. And then what else? Hydra. Hydra is actually in group of this. Okay, and then there is like a box jelly. Okay, in this class also, very small. Okay, jellyfish. In the Stenophora, this is the comb jelly. Comb jelly is actually very beautiful. If you see under the water, it can actually give like a fluorescence light, bluish kind of light. Okay, under the water. Okay, so these are the radiata. Bilateria. Okay, divided into two. Okay. First is the bilateria that do not have, because this is primitive first, does not have the body cavity. What do you call them? No, mean A, and then coelomate. No body cavity. A or A coelomate. The second one will be just like us. We have body cavity. It's called the coelomate. Okay, you can follow this? Now, this one also very primitive animals. They are aquatic animal. Okay, there is animal called the stylet or Asula. It looks like a fish, but it's look like actually mostly look like protozoa. It look like protozoa, very small. Okay, Asula. Then for the coelomate, it is divided into two type, into group. If their mouth is actually made from or of the gastrula, is called the protostome. Okay, if the gastrula become anus, then this is deuterostome. Okay, this is based on the embryological development. This is their adaptation. Okay, so the protostome, the gastrula then become mouth. The deuterostome, the gastrula develop into anus. Okay, now it's divided into many, basically two, but I will not make that division. Just the example of animal and their adaptation in this protostome group. We start from the one that, again, the most primitive, mostly live in water. There is a group called the zooplankton animal. Anybody know what is that? Retifera. They just like protozoa, very small, microscopic. You need microscope to see them, but they are multicellular. Many protozoa unicellular, but this one, Rotifera, they are multicellular. And then there is another one, it's called the Ectoprocta. Ectoprocta. This animal look like a polyps of the Cnidaria. Look like a polyp. It look like a plant actually, with many structure that look like medusa that stack together. That's Ectoprocta. Again, this is aquatic marine animal. And then there is another one. It's called the Brachiopoda. This is look like a bivalve of the bivalve of the mollusca. It has shell, but the shell is equal. Its shell is equal. It's not, because for most of the bivalves of the mollusca, the cell is not equal. Okay, so the cell, let's say this is the cell. If it is equal like this is Brachiopoda. But if it is not equal, sometimes like this one is bigger, this one is smaller, that's the bivalve of mollusca. So if you can identify whether Brachiopoda or bivalve by just looking the shell, their shell. Okay, now that's Brachiopoda. Again, aquatic animal, marine animal. The next one will be Platyhelminthes. Okay, Platyhelminthes. Platy mean flat. Helminths mean worm. So in biology, there is a class called the helminthology. What does that mean? Study of worm. In some university, big university, they offer the helminthology. Especially if you are in a medical school, you need to know parasite. They can learn from this helminthology because there are many helminths, actually parasites in human. Now, for the Platyhelminthes, this is very primitive helminth worm. Their body is really flat. There are one of them that live in aquatic condition, free living, freshwater actually. It's called the planaria. So planaria is look like this, look like an arrow, and you have dot, called the stigma, the eyes, to look like an eyes. So that's the planaria. And then two of them, mostly parasites, but they actually free living during their life. During their life, they are free living. Their larva is actually part of the cycle of the snail, the water snail. If people eat that water snail, okay, some Asian people, they eat water snail. It's actually delicious. You can make it soup and then you can slurp it and then suck it the inside. Good. But really, I don't know whether people here eat that one or not. But in Asian country, they eat that water, not the land snail that that's a lot of sticky, but it's the water snail. It's small, but that water snail is actually Yeah, part of the life cycle of this one of these platyhelminthes is called the fluke. Fluke. So if the larva eaten and then still alive, and then it can go to our system, and mostly they will stay or live in liver and causing the liver disease. And that liver disease is called what?
Cirrhosis.
No, yeah, cirrhosis is the action, the when the animal live there, it can kill the liver cell. The liver cell death is called cirrhosis, but the disease is called the liver fluke. Liver fluke. Okay, sometimes it's called the Chinese liver fluke because many happenings on that place. Okay, you got this one. The next example is many places have it because this animal, this platyhelminthes, is actually use the cattle, like pig and cow, as part of their life cycle. So their eggs is actually developed in the meat, in the muscle of the whether pig or cow, right? And then become pork or beef, right? When you eat that, let's say you eat the raw pork or raw beef, you might eat the eggs of that platyhelminthes. And it will be growing, become adult stage in our small intestine, hanging off in the small intestine, and then sucking up our food, okay, causing disease is called what?
Tapeworm.
Tapeworm. Okay, tapeworm. So the tapeworm, if you're able to take a sample of the tapeworm, their head is actually really small, but the head has the ability to suck and stay in our intestinal wall. And they consist of segment, and bigger segment is flat. Bigger segment, bigger segment, bigger segment, bigger. And this one is become what we call the proglotid, which is the mature segment. And the mature segment has a lot of eggs in it. And then it can, detach. The segment can detach from the body and then go out from with our poop. Poop. And then if the poop go contaminated the water go to the grass. You see the cycle over there? And the grass eaten by the cattle. And what happened with the cattle? It will carry the egg on their muscle, and then we eat it again, and then continues like that. Okay, so that's the tapeworm. Maybe pork tapeworm or beef tapeworm, because these are the two animals that they like to use as their stage. Okay, for this stage. Okay, so it's very small head actually. Anybody have seen it? You've seen it before, right? So in some biology class, if you take introduction, sometimes you're gonna also have that kind of practicum using the tapeworm or liverworm. In our country, we have a lot of this example because really easy to get it. But in the United States, maybe you still, some labs still able to get it from, buy it from some like a facility that's selling, sample or specimen for biology lab. Yeah, so that's the tapeworm. Very small. Now, what is after that? There is a group of animal, is also worm, but his body consists of rings, segment, rings. What do you call that? Many rings. Annelid. Annulus means ring. Okay, so annelid. Okay, this is a ringworm. Okay, mainly there are two types. The first one is called the Oligocyta. It has few cyta, which is small legs. And the second one is Polycyta. It has many legs, small legs. The Oligocyta is mostly on the land, on the earth. What you call it?
Earthworm.
Earthworm. Right? And the Polychaeta must be in the marine. This is marine organism, right? Which is marine worm. I have also seen them. This actually, this look like caterpillars, because a lot of legs. Okay, it look like the caterpillars with the bristles. Okay, so that's the annelid. And then from the annelid, then there is some group of animal that has soft body. Many of them have to create shell to protect their soft body. What you call that?
Mollusca.
Mollusca. So mollusca. Okay, mollusca. Yeah, there are many group of mollusca. 4 of them, mostly. The first one is the one that have a lot of shell, actually overlap one another like that. You see, this is a marine, mostly on the beach. Sometimes you can find it on the beach, so you can put it in your hand. Actually, it's very small, maybe like this, and a lot of plate of shell. It's called the Plecophora. Example, the species is called the chiton or chitons. I don't know, maybe some of you maybe have seen it. I've seen it, and I have also, in our country, we have a lot of beach that have intertidal zone that we can have actually many type of animals on that beach. In this Manuel Antonio, last time we don't really find them. But that's the first group. It's called the Plecophora, which is chiton, is the example of species. The second one is the one that use their belly for walking. And then they carry, sometimes they have the shell they carry. What do you call that? Example, gastropoda. Example is the snail that carry their, their house, their shell. But there are also the one that don't carry the shell. Sludge. Sludge is also gastropod. Okay, using their belly for movement. Therefore, it's called a gastropoda. What does gastro mean? Gaster mean belly. Poda mean food, to belly food animal. The next one is the one that use their head. Actually, their food is coming from their head. Therefore, it's called the cephalo. Cephalo mean head, poda mean legs or foot. What? Cephalopod. Example is kraken. What is kraken?
Octopus.
The octopus, right? So the leg is coming from kind of their head. Another example is squid. What? The head have that. Another example is Nautilus. Nautilus is actually part of this cephalopod. It has shell too, the Nautilus. But the octopus and squid, they don't really have shell. Okay. The next one is mollusca. What is the other one? We have gastropoda, we have cephalopoda.
Arthropoda.
That's gonna be last one. I mean, from the mollusca, I think there are already 4, all of them, right? Plecophora, gastropoda, cephalopoda. What is the other one? Doesn't it say over there? The mollusca. Oh yeah, the one that have two shell. What is that? Bivalve. Bivalve. It does include the seafood that we eat. What is that? That's clams. What else? Oysters. That's included in the bivalve. What else? Mussels. Not muscle, but mussel. Okay, so that's 4. That's included in this mollusca. Okay, and of course the last one for protostome is the most abundant group of animal, which is what? Arthropoda. Arthropoda. It has many groups. One group, it has 6 legs. Therefore, it's called the hexapoda. Hexapoda. is mostly known as an insects. So insects, hexapoda are the same thing. Example.
Bees,
Bees,
flies,
fly. What else?
scorpions.
Scorpion is not really 6 legs.
Ants.
And mosquitoes, right? Butterfly. Yeah, and Orthoptera. That's Orthoptera is the bug, the grasshopper, the sting bugs, whatever. That's in the okay. So many of them. Okay, and then after that there is a group called the Myriapoda. So this group, it has segment long, just like a worm, and it has segment. And then if each segment only have pair of foot or feet or leg, is called centipede. But it has 2, they are smaller, that's called the millipede. And we mentioned before the adaptation of millipede, they are detrivores, but the centipede, they are predators, they are hunters. Okay, that's Myriapoda. What is next? Crustacea. Crustacea is also segmented leg. Remember, the shrimp, the leg has a lot of segment. So include this one's going to be the shrimp, prawn, crabs, lobster, and one of them, the crayfish. What else that causing problem with the ship? The barnacles. That's actually in crustacea. So their body is actually crustacean body. That's crustacea. The next one is called the Selicerata. Sometimes in the old book is called the Arachnoida. Arachnoid or Selicerata. This include the spider, scorpions, tick, bedbugs, mites, lice.
Are bedbugs?
Bedbug is an arachnoid. Yeah, it's not insect. They are just like a tick. They sucking.
I know. I just didn't know that they were.
Yeah. So they look like this and then have 4, like with a sucking salicylate. So bedbug, tick, they are on the same group. They're actually, and then adaptation, many of them become factor of disease. Like for example, the tick that live in the deer can causing disease to human that maybe live in the wood. What do you call that disease?
Lyme disease.
Lyme disease. Well, it's caused by bacteria actually. The bacteria carried by this tick. Okay. Chaga disease. It's called the kissing bugs. When you sleep, they like your drool. When they take your drool, sometimes they can bite your lips, and then the bacteria can enter into our body. The protozoa, can enter to body, causing the disease. Okay, including the mites. Okay, the bed bugs that include in this Selicerata group. Also horseshoe crab. There's a crab, but this is not really crab. It's called the horseshoe crab. It is also have 8 legs that is include in the Selicerata group. Okay, that's the Arthropoda. Do you have question for this group? This is protostome. Now the last group. Remember, this is that their part of their adaptation, right? So they have the Selicerata, they have kind of ability to crack the skin or crack, with their pinch. They have the pinching, and they have the ability to suck, something from the host. Now, Deuterostome. Okay, this is the last group. It's considered as the most modern group of animals based on evolution. So of course we're gonna divide it into two, a little bit more primitive or earlier in development. It's called the Echinodermata. Now they have kind of skin that has spine. So echino means spine, derm means skin. So spiny skin, yes.
Can porcupines mean
Yeah. Oh, porcupine. Sorry, no. Porcupine is mammal. Even though that skin is actually modification of the hair. Okay, not part of the skin itself. But this one, Echinodermata, the skin is really spiny. Good question. That's type of adaptation later, but it's not Echinodermata. Most of these animals, they live in water. So they are aquatic animal, mostly marine animal. And then the last group, which is our group, Chordata. This is a group of animals that have chorda dorsalis, which is the rod structure, and later in some group of these animals become vertebrae. But on the other group, it stay as a chorda dorsalis. They have three groups over here. But we go to the Echinodermata first. It has four groups. The first one is called the Asteroidea. Aster means star. Therefore, the example is Patrick, the starfish. That's the Asteroidea. The second one, is called the Ophiuroidea.
sea urchins? Little stuff.
No.
Little stuff.
Bristol star. That's the Bristol star. Bristol star. It looks like a T-star, but the leg is longer and slimmer. And actually, when you hold it, it can be easily broken down. Broken down. It's hard, you can feel it like a sand structure or rock, small rock. But it's actually easily to detach. The next one. What is over there? Echinoidea. Echino, of course, means spiny. So this is the spiny of the spiny dermata, which is the spine is really long. What is this gonna be? Sea urchin. Echinodoi. The next one is called the sea lily. What is that?
Crinoidea.
Crinoidea. It's sea lily. So it looks like a lily plant, but it has bristle on there, because it's spiny. Just like a sea lily, like a lily plant, but they're animal. And the last one is cucumber. Holoturoidea, which is sea cucumber. Sea cucumber. Now just for information, sea urchin and sea cucumber in many restaurants in Asia, they are part of their menu. You can eat sea urchin. It actually tastes like an egg, when you put it upside down. Actually, you can open the holes from the back, and then you can dig the inside. It's very liquidy, just like an egg yolk. Now, sea cucumber is just like a cucumber, but it looks like a cucumber like this. But if you cut it, you have to clean it inside, because inside there are a lot of sand, a lot of rock. Actually, I don't know how they able to enter to that one. It's rock kind of, structure. You cut it with the knife and then open it, clean it good with the water because a lot of sand, and then cook it. Well, it's part of the menu in some restaurant. Have you ever eaten it? No, I have. Okay, I have eaten the sea cucumber and sea urchins before. It's good, Okay, so this sea cucumber. Okay, now that's the Echinodermata. We done with this group. Now we go to the last group, which is Chordata. Again, it has Chorda dorsalis, and also they have the spinal cord letters for the vertebrae. Okay, they have a gill slit. Okay, all have gill slit, but when it is developed for the mammals, that gill slit is become part of the ear and the throat. But for the fish, it's become their gills. Okay, that's called the gill slit. So during embryological development, they all have the same gill slit. And then also they have the caudal tail. Okay, so all of them. Now, have you ever seen the movie called the Waterworld? It's actually Kevin Costner is the actors on that movie. And that movie actually telling in the future, where it's a global warming is very, temperature is really high. What happened with this Earth? What happened with the ice cap? It's melting. What does that mean? Water all over. They call it a water world. So people actually, the organism will live in the water, go back to water environment, according to this movie. And then what happened with human? They are evolved into human that able to live in water. They can go swim deep and then breathe in water for a longer period of time. Okay, in that movie, what happened here? The ear of Kevin Costner, it has kind of ability to suck the oxygen. So I don't know, which one is. This is what we call the scientific movie, right? The science movie, science fiction movie. Yeah, that they actually know. Based, of course, they maybe study evolution. That the ear is actually gill slit. Yeah, it's actually part of the gills of the fish during their development. So just for your information, so that's sometimes some science fiction movie they actually, learns from the science itself. Right? Now the Chordata is divided into 3 groups. The first one is called the Urochordata. This is very primitive Chordata. Okay, of course, this animal will not develop the vertebrae. It's still Chorda dorsalis. I'm gonna show. Oh, I forgot to show you this is a chiton, which is shell is overlap. Okay, and of course this is the snail. This is the sludge, octopus, nautilus, and this is bivalve. Okay, and this is the nematode. I forgot to mention the nematode. Before the arthropod, there is a nematode, which is the roundworm. And again, mostly parasite to animal, yes.
Aren't there worms in soil called nematodes? Is that a part of this?
Yeah, nematodes mean roundworm. They also, of course, the roundworm is actually their eggs is actually in the soil. This is how people or animal get infected. They usually, if they play with the mud. Okay, mostly, which one do you think have more risk of having nematodes? Dogs or cat?
Dogs.
Why?
They're outside.
They also,
dirty around them.
yeah, dog mostly they like a dirty, you know. Cat is actually they're little bit clean. Cat is little bit clean compared to the dog. Dog like dirty, right? So they can get the egg from the soil and then develop into their body, become parasite. Again, this is arthropod, with segmented legs animal. So many examples over here, so many of them, okay, including the barnacles over here. Detersome, you know, echinoderm and chordate. Okay, they have mentioned these 5 classes of echinoderm. This is chordate. Again, this is the characteristic of chordate. All of them will have gill slit, notochord, dorsal collar nerve cord, and the post-anal tail. Okay, there are 3 subphylum Urochordata. Example is tunicates, and this is how it looks like. This is called the sea squirt because it can squirt water. Okay, they live mostly on the bottom of the sea. Okay, so they put their half of their body on the bottom of the sea. And the second one is called the Cephalochordata over here. Okay. And the name of the animal is lancelet. Lancelet, you know, if you do the dissection, you have the, what you call it? The knife that used for dissection?
The scalpel?
Scalpel. It looks like that. It looks like a scalpel, but it's really small. It sometimes is very transparent. If you put on your, you can put on your palm. Yeah, they are very small. So like this. That's lancelet. It looks like fish, but it is not fish. That's the cephalochordate. Of course, the last one is our group, which is the subphylum of vertebrate. And vertebrate is only 3% of all animals. Okay? It means that 97% of animal is called what? Invertebrate. So from sponge, go to the cephalochordata, they're all invertebrate. So only vertebrate, only 3% of them. Yeah. And these vertebrates divided into 5 classes. That's what we learned, right? What is the first one? Of course, the one that still live in water, because that's how the evolutions go. The most primitive vertebrae will be fishes. And fish divided into 2 groups. The first one is the one that do not have the jaw. It's called the Agenata. Okay. And because they do not have the jaw, can they crush? Can they bite or can they crush their food? Yeah. No, because they have the jaw. So mostly they're gonna sucking the food. That's the way they eat. Because no jaw, that's the adaptation. They are filter. This one examples is hagfish. What's the other one? Lamprey. There's a fish without jaws. The second one is called the Genata or Genatostome. Okay, Genata means jaws, so it has jaws. So what is adaptation that you have for this? Then they have the ability to bite, to crunch, you know, crush, cut the food. Okay, so this Genata, okay, divided into 2 types. The first one, if the bone is made of cartilage, what you call that group? Chondrichthyes. Yes. Chondro mean cartilage. So chondrichthyes. Okay. So ichthyes mean fish. So again, in some university, they offer class called the ichthyology. What does that mean? Study of fish, ichthyology. Now the chondrichthyes mean fish that has cartilage as their bone, as their skeleton. Example, two of them that is very famous. This is prehistoric animal, which is shark and stingray. That's the chondrichthyes. The second one, of course, fish that has real bone. Osteo mean bone, bony fish. Osteichthyes. Okay, bony fish. This is the fish that we know, the fish that mostly we eat. By the way, the shark, you know, in some area, they actually sell the shark fin. It's very expensive for delicacy for the soup. Well, but anyway, most of the fish that we know is in the group of Osteichthyes, and this group divided into two types. Okay, first is the group of fish that is called the ray fin fish, Actinopterygii. Okay. And then the second one is sarco. Sarco means bag or sack, like a pocket. Okay, sarco. Sarcopterygii. Okay. Now, what is the difference between this? The difference is on their fin. The Sarcopterygii, especially in the pectoral fin, they have a bigger bone. Bigger bone. And then this is causing them, some of them, to be able to walk or jump on the mud. Mostly they are freshwater fish, the Sarcopterygii. In our country, we have a lot of this type of Sarcopterygii. They can live longer without water. Okay, they can actually kind of, go up to the land a little bit and then stay for a while and then jumping back to the fresh water. So they are considered as the common ancestor. Their group is common ancestor for the land animal. What is the name of the fish? Tiktaalik, the fossil. Okay, this Tiktaalik is coming from this group, Sarcopterygii. Okay, so that's their adaptation. That's the reason why they become the common ancestor for the land animal. Okay. What is the second classes after fish? Amphibian. What is amphibian? Amphibian 2. Bion or bio mean life. So they have two life. It means that they live two stages. One life in water, another life in or on land. Okay, they actually really dead. I mean, when they are larvae, what do you call their larvae? The frog larvae, the tadpoles, right? They actually just like fish. They breathe with gills. But when they are adult, become frog, for example, or toad, they breathe with lungs. They have lungs. You see that one? So very neat. Okay, this is the kind of link between aquatic animal and then the land animal. Okay, so amphibian. There are three of them. Okay, three groups. First one, the one that still have tail. So the adult also carry tail. What you call that? Urodela. Okay, Urodela. Example of Urodela is salamanders. Salamander is an amphibian. They are not reptile. Okay, they look like reptile, right? They look like a gecko or something like that, but they are not reptile. They are amphibian. What is the second one? Anura. Anura means no tail. The adult is actually don't have tail. Example is frog and toad. And you know the difference between frog and toad. Which one will be more on land? The toad. You can actually see on their what you call the web. The frog will have bigger web. The toad is actually smaller web because they don't really, stay in water a lot. Okay, they are not a good swimmer compared to the frog. Okay, what is the last one? Apoda, the one that don't have legs. Okay, apoda. Okay, that's the amphibian. And from amphibian, evolution goes to reptilian. Reptile. Right? Okay. What is the adaptation for reptile? Now they able to live mostly on land, but they still need moist place or they still need water. Sometimes they have to be close water for their eggs. Some of them even, the adults like to be in water too, like crocodile, right? But do they breathe with gills?
No.
No, they are really land animal. They are really, so reptile is not amphibian because in some country they believe reptile is amphibian because what? Live in two places, they say. Live in water and sometimes live on land. This is not definition for amphibian. Amphibian is the stages that have two different habitat environment, water and land. But crocodile, they are land animal. They are land animal that stay in water. So this reptile, how many? There are 4 of them, right? What is the first one? Crocodilia. And the name is telling you this is a group of crocodile, including crocodile, alligator, and caiman. Caiman or caiman? Okay. Cayman. There's a Cayman Island, special island for them. So that's first group. What's the second group?
Spinodonta.
Spenodonta, only 2 species left, and all of them live in Australia. Okay, and this look like a lizard, but it's not lizard. They're not lizard group. Okay, what is this? The third one? Squamata. Squama means scale. So their body actually have a lot of scales. And this one have 2 main group. If they still have leg, it's called lizard. If they lose their leg, it's called snakes. So they have the same character, which is a lot of scales on their body. A scaly animal. Therefore, it's called the squamata. Get it? And then what's next? Testudina or testudine. There are 2 groups. There are one group that still like in water. They mostly live in water, and they, of course, again, have the ability to swim well. Okay, so their legs actually have the padding mechanism. That's their adaptation. What is that? Turtles. And the other one, they're mostly on land. They're still in water, but they don't. Tortoise. Oh, okay. they walk on land. The turtle, they don't walk on land. They cannot. So therefore, when they give the egg, what do you call it? Lay the eggs. When they lay the eggs, they have to lay the eggs on the beach, right? They have to struggle to like this, swimming on the sand, and then putting the. Have you ever seen the turtle? Just look like a ping pong ball. Is very small and it's very soft. Actually, it's really delicious. Actually, yeah. So I'm not talking about food. Yeah, some people take it and use it because it's a very soft when it is out from the from the sun. Yeah. It's in some place we have a island. We have a beach that use as place for they always come back on the same beach every year, and that's the place for them. So that the eggs will be laid and then cover it, and then several months later it's become what's it called, I think they have a special name for the baby turtles. Sometimes here we have this, or just baby turtle, because sometimes in the animal they have different name, right? Their baby, like horse. What do you call the baby horse?
Wow.
Wow. Or what do you call the baby cow? Yeah, Shida, man. So I don't know the baby turtle. There is a special. In our country, we have special name. So when they hatch, then they have to swim to the water. Sometimes bird can take them. Sometimes animal, fox, for example, can eat them, and etc. But their adaptation is they still live in water. What is the difference between turtle and tortoise? Just look at the padding mechanism that they have. It's telling you. Okay. That's all. What? That's all the reptile. Is that correct? Now, from the reptiles, then it's going to be evolved into two. Okay, into two next animals groups. Okay. Okay, the first ones, the animals, the scale become feather. The feather is actually modification of the scale. Okay, so what do you call that animal? Bird. Is become bird. What is the common ancestor for the bird? Archaeopteryx, which is a type of reptile. Archaeopteryx. Bird. What is adaptation of bird? They fly. Their bone is lighter. Their breastbone is not like us. We have ribs. What? Do they have ribs? Birds don't have ribs. They have the keel type of, breastbone, which is part of the breastbone is actually not really bone. It's still cartilage. It's cartilage. It's lighter. Okay, so that's the bird. They have the ability to do that. And then the last one, there are common ancestor for this animal is called therapsid. Therapsid is actually also reptile that will evolve into mammals. Okay. Now the scale modified into what? If it is in the bird, become feather. In mammals, the scale hair become hair. So hair is actually the modification of the scale from this reptile. Okay, mammals. Oh, 2 more minutes. Okay. And mammal, they have many of them. Okay, and during our observation, we might already see some of them, like sloth. What we see? Monkey. Sloth and monkey the same or not? They are the same. Not at all, right? So sometimes people say that's monkey too. Sloth is a monkey. Sloth is actually the same member with the armadillo and eater. You can imagine it, right? So different, but they are the same family, the same orders with the armadillo. That's the sloth. We're gonna talk about this tomorrow when we review for exam. Okay. So again, prepare for your exams on Wednesday. We will review it tomorrow, and I need your assignment. Thank you. Oh, you already get it to me.
Are we going to have to know these phylogenies?